Welcome to Universal Man. My name is Mark Weppett, and I'm here to help you unleash your apex potential. And I've got a question for you. What if you could gain a full hour every single day that was free from distractions and full of energy? What could you do with that time? Well, you could get it if you just get up earlier. But as someone who has chronically struggled to get up early, I've had to develop a very special technique to get myself out of bed. So if you're one of those snooze button addicts, then this video is for you. All right, so it's no secret among the successful how valuable it is to get up early. There's something really special about it. And outside of a small number of people that really are night owls, like getting up early is just one of the best moves that you can make. Because, well, I mean, you've got freedom from distraction, especially if you're up before your family or you're up before work or whatever, but you also usually have higher energy. You know, if you're trying to do more stuff in your life, if you've got side projects, extra goals, maybe you want to work on some self-development stuff, trying to do that stuff later in the day after you've already, usually worked and dealt with stuff and, spent a bunch of energy, later in the day, you're kind of drained. The mental capacity you have, the energy you have to really do productive things is somewhat limited. So if you can instead take that free time out of the end of your day and put it up in the front, well, then usually that allows you to prioritize, those important but not urgent things, those things that really move you toward long-term goals. You can prioritize your energy to hit those things first. Maybe it's a workout, maybe it's some kind of prayer, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's working on some kind of side project. If you're a creative, then doing some kind of creative work in the morning is super, super valuable. So, I mean, this is a really wonderful thing, but, everyone struggles to get up earlier, right? That's a big challenge. When we get locked into a pattern, changing that pattern voluntarily is a bit difficult. So, I mean, there are some obvious things that you can do. I mean, the biggest one is go to bed earlier. Right? Just go to bed earlier, right? Don't stay up and scroll and watch crap and do that sort of thing. And then there's also a bunch of general sleep hygiene things that you can do, like, tone down the electronic stimulation toward the end of the day, start dimming the lights, try and find, more yellow light rather than super white light, that's more cozy, all the circadian rhythm stuff. You can Google there's so many videos on sleep hygiene that you can look at that can help you out. If you're, willing to go extreme, you can get yourself a chili pad. Me and my wife have one of those and we love it. That can really help you fall asleep. But even if you fall asleep well, you're still going to have to get up. And this is the part that I always struggled with the most, because the simplest way to reset your sleep pattern is to just force yourself to get up early. Do that for a few days. You'll just start getting tired earlier, and then you go to bed earlier. Like, that's the easiest thing in the world. You just got to get through those initial few days till you can start making the adjustment. So, I always struggled to do this. I'm a really heavy sleeper, and it takes me a while for my brain to even boot up in the morning. A lot of times I would hit snooze and not even remember that I hit snooze. So here's what I've come up with. This is a little, like a 4 or 5 step technique that will hopefully help you in the way that it's helped me. So, step number 1, you're going to set the night before an alarm 10 minutes before you actually want to wake up. Okay. And so this will be, say you want to get up at 7 a.m. Well, then you set this one for 6:50. And you can do this one right next to your bed. You can do it in your cell phone that you keep next to your bed if you want. You want to be able to kind of reach it. The point of this first alarm is to just wake your eyes up, wake your brain up, have you become awake in bed. And as we all know, just becoming awake in bed is not enough to get you out of bed, but that's the starting point. All right. Step number 2 is to set up an alarm at the actual time you want to wake up. So if you want to wake up at 7 a.m., well, the second alarm, it's going to be set to 7 a.m. Now, you can do this one on your phone if you trust yourself. Okay, you can have both of them on your phone, even right next to you, if you trust yourself to follow through with this. And as you get more comfortable with the technique, you'll probably be fine with this. This is what I use. But if I was really struggling and I absolutely had to make this sleep shift, I would probably get an old school alarm clock and plug it in somewhere across the room that I cannot reach, from my bed. This is kind of a standard tactic that people will use to force themselves to get out of the bed, or just listen to their alarm clock go off. And obviously some people will just sit there for half an hour listening to their alarm clock go off. So even this isn't foolproof, but it can help. Now, step 3 is where it starts getting a little bit more interesting. So step 3 is when that first alarm goes off in the morning, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start breathing deeply. Okay, you got to start being like full lungs of air. And you want to keep that up. You don't want to necessarily hyperventilate, but you want to be really starting to oxygenate your body. One of the biggest things that happens when you fall asleep is that your circulation and your breathing rate really kind of go down significantly. And so we're trying to bring that back up. We're trying to get more oxygen in your blood. We got to get the energy flowing through your body. And that's about all I could get myself to do. So I was like, what's the easiest thing I could do to start turning my body on? Breathe more. Breathe deeply. Breathe a little bit more quickly. That's going to do so much for you. Step number 4 is after you start breathing, you want to start thinking, okay? Like as you start breathing, your brain's going to start waking up, and then you got to start putting your brain into the mode of the day. You got to start visualizing yourself, maybe, sitting at breakfast, eating that nicely cooked, plate of eggs that you made yourself, fully dressed, all ready to go, if that's like your plan. Basically, you want to be envisioning yourself fully immersed in the next stage of your day. Okay, that's one technique that you can use. I use this a lot. So if I'm using my morning slot to work out, then I will immediately start imagining myself already mid-workout. It just gets you going. Or if I'm using that morning slot to do content, then that's what I'll start imagining. I'll see myself, sitting at my desk doing my work. Another thing you can do is if you have something that you're excited for in the day, start thinking about that, or even something that you gotta take care of that day. If it's a little bit stressful, that can start spiking up your system too. The thing is, we're trying to boot the brain up and get it out of sleep mode. And by starting to think about the day, that does that a lot. Now, the thing you want to be careful of is you don't want to be necessarily thinking of stuff that really stresses you out or really worries you. Because if you do that, you might just want to escape all that, run away from that, and then, go back to bed. So we want to make it, you got to find that right balance point for you, whatever it is that gets your brain going. All right, on to step number 5, and this is really the magic step for helping you get out of bed in the morning. So up until this point, the first alarm went off. We started breathing. We turned our brain on. You can also throw in some stretching, some moving around a little bit, anything you do to get yourself going. But once that second alarm goes off, that marks the time you really want to get up. You hold your breath. That's what you do. You just hold your breath. All right. The way I think of it is like, second alarm's gone off. No more air left in bed. And this is important because when you hold your breath, and if you keep holding it, what's going to happen is that your body will produce a spike of adrenaline naturally. All right. It's like, just try it. Like when you're lying there in bed and you just hold it, and as soon as it starts getting uncomfortable, you're going to start feeling your brain releasing some juice. It's going to start waking you up. It's kind of like if you were actually sleeping and someone came over and started trying to smother you, well, you would wake up because your brain's like, shit, something's happening. And that's what we're trying to trigger here. And what you do is you basically just hold your breath till you get out of bed. And obviously you don't want to be, hurting yourself. You obviously don't want to make yourself pass out. That's kind of the opposite of the thing. And you can actually even do a couple of rounds of this, like sometimes, you can do it like once. You get a little spike, you're still being lazy, you do it again, you get another spike. Eventually, you're just going to get sick of this and then you're going to get out of bed. And it'll usually happen pretty quickly. I mean, a lot of times, even the previous steps of just breathing and thinking are enough to get you going. But the not breathing, that almost always seems to work. So even if you don't pull this off perfectly and get up exactly on time, you're going to get up pretty close. And the more you practice this, the more you get good at it, the more it becomes like a little game. It becomes a little skill, and you can actually just, get better. And you become that person who can get up pretty quick as soon as you can, because it just becomes a skill that you can turn your body on from a sleep state to an awake state pretty fast. And so this has helped me out a lot. And so I highly encourage you guys to give it a shot. So that's what I have for you guys today. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you did, please like, please subscribe, and make sure you come back and comment and let me know how well this worked for you or didn't, okay? And if you can think of someone else who maybe you want to try this challenge with, then send them this video as well. Well, I will see you guys in the next one. Ooyap.